Hello, my name is reb0rn, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players that you need to know about. Today on the show, we have the awesome game of the week. It could not have come soon enough, because I need to pick me up on this Saturday, because I totally am doing this on Saturday, and it's totally not pre-recorded. At all, alright? Let's get that straight, that this is pre-recorded. Let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top right-hand corner of the map. Frost, on top of the red Protoss player representing Team Root. He is the one, the only, Chad Mother Effin' Minigun Jones, also known as just Minigun. And his opponent, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map as the blue Zerg player. He is going to be the hero, the ultimate, the legend, and of course, the highlight player of the week. For this week of Breaking Out, week number 2, it is Clarity Gaming's very own reb0rn. And you know, I hype up reb0rn, but honestly, I have got to say, man, this guy over here, Minigun, he's definitely, hands down, one of the top North American players in the scene. I mean, this guy is absolutely on fire. He is amazing. He is just really an awesome guy, and I'm really looking forward to see how this game goes, because we have two really great players over here. reb0rn, obviously the much lesser known player of the two, so he's a bit of the underdog in this, but we've been highlighting him, we've been showcasing what he's kind of got, and I have got to say, man, this guy, reb0rn's playstyle in the Zerg versus Protoss matchup is a lot of fun to watch. Now, he does play it pretty safe early on in the matchup. You can see spawning pool first, just kind of doesn't want to deal with any kind of probe shenanigans, any kind of forge fast expand shenanigans that could be going on. We do end up seeing a Nexus first that will likely lead up to that forge, so that is still obviously a possibility over here. reb0rn not going to try and take too many risks with that, because he wants to get into the late game stage, and not for Swarm Host. He has made it very clear, not for Swarm Host. But, you know, this is the awesome game of the week, and when I get an awesome game of the week from these players, sometimes they can be a little bit kooky. I have no idea what's going to be going on in this. I have absolutely no idea. But I'm looking forward to it. And this could very well just be a standard game. We could see crazy Nidus Worm aggression. I don't even know. Maybe Minigun will be the one that goes absolutely crazy with it. But I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, for the meanwhile, all we can do is observe what we see so far in the game. And that is just going to be pretty standard play, kind of, especially out of Minigun. Just Nexus first into the Forge, Gateway, and then planting down the cannon. Planning it out nice and a little bit greedy. I mean, just waiting to get the cannon down at the absolute last second, even when the Overlord's there. But, I mean, Minigun got the first probe scat off on his opponent. He saw, okay, well, there's the spawning pool going down first. But it's a little bit difficult for reb0rn, unless he just guns it straight out for his opponent's base to do a whole lot with the Zerglings. But we do see actually reb0rn saying, you know what, I'm up against a Forge Fast expansion this time, as opposed to the last Zerg versus Protoss, so he's going to go straight for that third expansion, and not really worry too much about any kind of early aggression that his opponent could kind of push out to him, like the 4-gate aggression that would come pretty gosh darn early on if you go for the Gateway expansion. And yeah, this game is looking to be pretty standard. So for those of you who missed Zerg versus Protoss from before, we saw that reb0rn likes to get into that late game, and he went for the early Zerg or Roach Hydralisk kind of composition, and then eventually transitioned out into the big Mutals tech switch. And that was a game against Huck, another amazing Protoss player. Honestly, still again one of the best Protoss players in North America. But it just kind of went to show that he likes to be really aggressive with small little squadrons of Roach Hydralisk. Even though he was up against a Colossus-based composition, he wasn't really too deterred from it. But now we're end up seeing something totally different from what Huck went for. Again, that Colossus-based composition, that early robotics facility. We're going to be seeing a Stargate, and oh, look at this. The beautiful thing about replays is that we don't have to wait around for the pause, as reb0rn does kind of get that mouse issue sorted out. But Stargate play going to be the opening for Minigun, which, you know, is honestly a pretty open, common opening in the matchup. So I'm curious to see, how does reb0rn react? reb0rn has kind of keyed himself in on as a aggressive but very reactive player. So once he scouts that out, as it looks like he does get the vision off, yeah, he does see that Stargate very easily with that Overlord, and he's going to be able to prepare for it. So how does he prepare? prepare. He probably has another good minute or so, so he's just going to do the standard response. Throw down a Spore Crawler in each one of these bases. Probably defend with some queens. I mean, it's just a single Stargate, so he doesn't have to overly heavily commit to the defense against those Phoenix. Just has to get out a decent number of defenses, you know, that average defense, and see where it goes from there. Now, he may also very well just kind of go for that Hydralisk Den. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him do that, but only time will tell. In the meanwhile, Minigun, again, not really going for an all-in or anything. He's going to open up with those Phoenixes to, one, deter the kind of Mutals opening, but it's also to seize up a little bit of that map control, get good scouting out. There's a ton of nice little advantages that you get by opening up with Phoenix, but he's going to just transition out into a third expansion behind this, and well, this is a really cute little positioning from the Zealot, because if you think about it, if the Zerglings come in to attack, they're going to run around over here, and they're going to be attacking the Zealot one at a time if they try and A-move in. They may very well go for the Photon Cannon. I'm actually not entirely sure how the A-move micro actually goes out with that, if they go after the Zealot or the Photon Cannon first, but regardless, nice little small things coming out from both these players. Phoenixes trying to do a little bit of easy damage, but they're gonna have to back out against the Queens. Third Phoenix does join them though, and they could actually very well try and pick off one of those Queens, but a second Queen, if he does decide to focus fire down the correct Phoenix, he will be able to push those Phoenix back. But with a third Queen coming out, it doesn't even matter, man. He's gonna be able to push back those Phoenix without too many problems, and we can already see that Minigun has pretty much seized control of the map. You can see his vision really just narrowed down to the Xel'Naga Watchtower. It's pretty much narrowed down to the ground Zergling units that the Phoenix don't even really want to waste their energy on picking off. They're going to go after these juicy little Queens that are normally want to be doing their larva injects, and you can see over here, they're going to be able to pick off one of these Queens, delay one of those larva injects. Now, reb0rn does have 6 Queens out, so he can afford to lose a Queen or two over here now and then, but it's still a very annoying, and Minigun just going to try and do whatever harassment he can while he tries to play a little bit greedy behind this and get up that second Stargate. Now, I say greedy, but not in the sense that he's taking a ton of risks that, you know, he can be punished for. More in the sense that he just wants to play out a very late game based composition of getting out Void Rays, getting out the second Stargate, getting up a ton of those air upgrades, as well as even the ground upgrades. So, I mean, he is very late game focused, and we're going to wait and see. What is reb0rn going to do? He's pumping out a ton of roaches, so he has kind of had it with a little macro style. He's saying, okay, we've been sitting back long enough. You've done a little bit of harassment with those Phoenix, but that's all well and good, but I'm going to show you what true aggression is what he is saying to me over here. As the Phoenix are going to continue to try and be aggressive in their own right, but honestly, there's not a whole lot more damage that they can really do over here. It's kind of surprised that actually we don't have another Queen over here, although there have been some larva injects, so there's definitely a Queen sub. Oh, I guess actually all of the Queens are over at the front. Only 2 Queens left back at home to larva inject behind us, but these Queens are going to be a very scary prospect for those Void Rays. That is definitely why they're around, to deal with the Void Rays as well as the Phoenix, but 2 Void Rays going to be coming out at a time, and the Roaches going to be able to power through on the ground side over here. But we do have a lot of Force Fields available. 2 sick Force Fields. Oh my god, those are some really solid Force Fields. Really conservative with the Force Fields, but he's going to be able to step back a lot of this army, as reb0rn's going to have a difficult time, and that Photon Overcharge definitely being worth his weight in gold for just 100 energy, doing a ton of damage to this roach-based composition. Photon Cannon's also adding in a lot of DPS. reb0rn is trying to continue to push in over here, and it's looking to be pretty close, but with all these Queens starting to get picked off, the Void Rays are honestly just going to be able to be worth their weight in gold, as they are going to be able to get free reign over all these roaches. But reb0rn just says, you know what, you didn't have enough of a ground army. It doesn't matter if you have air superiority, because I've taken out your third expansion. You cannot deal with this number of roaches, and he's going to be able to pick off that final gas geyser and just back the heck out of there and saying, well, my damage has been done. I may have lost Queens, but those Queens are a mineral investment. You just lost your expansion. That's your third base. How the heck is a Protoss player going to support 2 Stargates producing units, as well as how many gateways? We have 3 gateways over here, a 4th gateway over here, and we had more over here, but they have been taken out as well. So it's pretty much just going to be a decision for Minigun. He's going to have to say, well, do I just continue producing probes and Stargate units, or do I produce gateway units as well? He's going to opt for those Stargate units, which kind of makes sense. I mean, he has a lot of Voiders out already, wants to get out a couple more, and he's going to be able to do his own nice little bit of damage. He's going to immediately focus fire down that third hatchery over here from reb0rn. There's not a whole lot that reb0rn could do about it. Let's be honest. This many Void Rays, it takes a lot to kill. It takes a lot of Zerg units to kill, and I know a lot of Zergs that struggle with it. Now, reb0rn going to try and do a little bit of counter-aggression over here, but, I mean, Minigun's already prepared for it. Has 2 Void Rays on that side, and there's a handful of Hydrals in the mix now for reb0rn. reb0rn does just have the Hydral stand out, no Spire or anything out, and honestly, he is only just now getting up this 3rd reclaimed expansion, I should say. It was originally going to be a 4th expansion. So he doesn't really have a whole lot to deal with the anti-air just yet. He only has a handful of Hydrals. This is not going to be enough Hydrals to deal with this. So I think that reb0rn is once again looking for the cancel on the 3rd expansion. He has a couple of Queens over here to back it up. He's going to try and take out as many Voiders as he can. Time Warp does go down on the Queens, but here is going to be where the real damage is being done. Once again, reb0rn focus firing down that that Nexus with his Roaches, and the Voiders are going to be able to do some nice damage once again, taking out so many of those Roaches. But this Void Ray count is good and a little bit out of control. 9 Void Rays in the mix, even a couple of Phoenix still left alive to lift up whatever Queens or Roaches that have any kind of anti-air capabilities and just immediately take them out. But, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned now for reb0rn. You have to remember, not only is he sort of fallen behind in the upgrades, as, oh, I guess he's getting the +2 missile attack, so he's kind of getting his own upgrades going, but he lost that 3rd expansion before, and he's trading a 3rd expansion for a 3rd expansion, and that's not really where a Zerg player wants to be. Yeah, he has a 3rd, or I should say the 4th expansion, that's now his 3rd expansion. Man, this terminology gets pretty confusing after a while, but he has a 3rd expansion reclaimed, and he's getting up his 4th expansion now again. So it's not the worst position in the world, but still, it's a bit of a difficult one when you're up against this very, very tech-based composition that really you just don't have too much of an answer for, other than I'm just gonna make a lot of Hydrals and get out more Queens and get some good upgrades out. It's a bit of a difficult situation, so we'll have to wait and see if it pays off for him, as he is once again just showing and asserting his aggression on Minigun. Minigun not going to have any of it, force fielding out a lot of those Hydrals. The Hydrals not able to get on top of those Voiders where they really want to be, and those Sentries going to be so critical in these engagements. Just stabbing off again those Hydrals, making sure that the Void Rays manage to stay alive throughout all of these repeated engagements and this repeated aggression that reb0rn wants to throw out at Minigun. So Minigun doing a great job defending for now, and reb0rn doing an okay job at being aggressive, but I don't think that he can trade just go gun down the 3rd expansion again, because this Void Ray count is something he has to deal with now. If he lets it escalate too far without either getting Infestors out or at least killing off a lot of those Voiders in this next engagement, he is going to be facing a big counterattack I'm not sure he can deal with. Now we end up seeing the Hydrals pushing in over here. A lot of force fields going down as he is able to snipe off or pick off a lot of those forward facing in units for reb0rn. And these Voiders are again dealing out a ton of damage, but look at this. The Hydrals are able to deal out a lot of damage with those +2 missile attacks, and he is able to pick off a lot of the Voiders. This is the kind of trade that he needed to make. Now we can see that there's only 4 Voiders left at the end of this engagement. Still more actually falling to those Hydrals and the Queens. 2 Voiders left over, and a handful of Roaches also still left over, but there's a reason for that. That is because Minigun is going on the counter aggression for himself. He focuses down the 3rd expansion and manages to take it out with these Zealots. Still focusing down this 4th expansion over here, and it looks like those Zealots will get cleaned up, so reb0rn manages to retain a bit of his economy, but it is still going to be in a very awkward situation, as that main base is pretty much going to be mined out. I mean, there's still some gas left over in there, but I mean, the natural expansion is starting to get mined out of minerals as well. He's basically mining on 1.5 bases of minerals, and that is an ugly position when you're going for a Roach Hydralist base composition. You definitely want that minerals still left over, especially if you want to do things like throw down spine crawlers to deal with those Zealot harassments that could be coming out. Now, Minigun does still have another wave of 4 Zealots coming in for the counter aggression, but reb0rn getting aggressive himself, saying, okay, well, you just threw away a lot of your army units, or I shouldn't say threw away, you lost a lot of your army units in that last big engagement. I'm going to go ahead and try and be aggressive once again. Now, he's doing a lot of damage over here, and I'm not sure that Minigun has the army to actually defend this 3rd expansion, as the Hydrals now stutter sniping their way forward on top of the Voiders. GG gets called as Minigun says, you know what, with the spine crawls over there, unable to do the damage he needed to get done, and he's going to have to tap out. So a really sick game over there from both of these players. I mean, Minigun has some absolutely great force field micro and did a great job defending quite a bit against reb0rn's army, but for reb0rn just constantly barreling through with the aggression, saying, no, you are not allowed to get up a 3rd expansion, even if it kills my entire army multiple times. I'm not going to let you get up that 3rd expansion. And even though he suffered his own losses with his hatcheries and everything, he was able to power through still in the mid to late game stages of the matchup. I mean, that was a really long mid game. And just eventually get up that big Hydros composition that he needed to deal with the Void Ray. So a really sick game once again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that game from Clarity Gaming's reb0rn against, you know, a really fantastic player like Root Minigun. So big shout out to Root Minigun. I mean, he is a great player. And it was an absolute delight to see him play as well. But Clarity Gaming's reb0rn going to take the game. So guys, go ahead and check out Clarity Gaming reb0rn over on Twitter. All the links are over in the Twitch chat if you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, you're on YouTube, go ahead and just look down below the video, exit out of that full screen that I know you guys are watching in, and check out those links. But guys, with that being said, we are going to go ahead and hop back into the show. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere if you're watching this live on Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and look for those other parts of the video for the fun day, because we're going to be jumping into a game of pure CTF with a bunch of really, really awesome guys. That's going to, honestly, it blows my mind that all of them are so awesome that they're going to participate in this pure CTF game with Clarity Gaming's reb0rn. So we're going to see, I mean, Clarity Gaming reb0rn likes to play aggressive in StarCraft. How aggressive is he in pure CTF? The map by Ryan Shutter? Only time will tell. We'll wait and see, as we'll see you guys in just a couple seconds.